done it before.
I'm Ben Howells, and this is my 4-minute presentation on a criminal news story. This is my audience.
Karen Howells.
Hi, I'm Phil Howells.
And I'll get started. So I picked a story on abcnews.com. It is about a 25-year-old black male who was injured in the back of a police van after he was arrested. He ended up dying later in the hospital. The trial is about whether or not the police officer is liable for securing him when he's in the back of the van with a seatbelt, because he didn't have a seatbelt on, and that's how he got his injuries. The prosecutors pointed out that the police officer was aggressive with bystanders at the scene of the crime, yelling jail, jail, jail at them and threatening them when a normal police officer would do no such behavior. And the case ended up leading to part of the riots in Baltimore, which was a big escalation of a bunch of different perceived hate crimes in the past year. There were actually 6 officers there, but this is the 4th officer to be tried. 2 were acquitted, and the trial for the 3rd ended in a hung jury. I personally believe that an officer should have to secure whoever they arrest in the back of the van, as it's only safe for both them and the passenger. If people have to wear seatbelts by law, then it's only fair that a police officer should have to secure people who are in their car, otherwise it's not safe for them to be traveling on the road. This is a perfect example of a worst case scenario. Yes, and the police officer claims that he was innocent and the bystanders were actually hostile, which is a big part of the case. They disputed with each other over whether or not the bystanders were just a concerned crowd or a crowd that forced him into a situation where he didn't have time to put on a seatbelt because they were hostile with him. But there are 6 officers there, so they all are on his side of the case, whereas all the bystanders are on the other side of the case, claiming that he was threatening them while he claims that the bystanders were threatening him. I think the riots in Baltimore were too much of a reaction for this case. I think a peaceful protest would have been fine, but violence is not the answer to violence. I think that he should be charged with some of the crimes. I don't know if he should be charged with all of them. He's being tried for manslaughter and 2 other things, and I feel as if, though that's a little strict, he could be in jail for multiple life sentences for that, whereas he should only be liable for maybe a couple things, maybe a couple years in jail. He needs to be made an example of so this doesn't happen again. That's my thoughts on this and on this case. That's all I have to say.